All right, now for those of you who can't see this shirt in the back, it says, when you get to my age, I've seen it all, I've done it all, I've heard it all, I just don't remember it all. So, here we go. There is a saying that you don't stop laughing when you get older. You get older when you stop laughing. So with that in mind, we're going to laugh a little bit because they also say laughter is the best medicine. So here we go. Let me tell you about Willie, who has concern over his hearing. And Willie reads that a reverend, an evangelist, is coming to town, and he knows that this evangelist has curative powers. So he goes to the tent where the evangelist is gathered, and the evangelist says, who would like to be prayed over? And Willie lines up on the line with the others. He's third in line. And when he gets to the evangelist, he's asked, well, what is your problem, young man? And he says, I'm concerned about my hearing. And the reverend says, no problem. Kneel. So he gets down on his foot. He kneels. The reverend puts a finger in one ear, twists it around, takes his hand and twirls it around his head. Between the twirling and the fixing of the ear, and prayers, chants, incantations about hearing, he stops after 10 minutes and he says, now rise. And Willie gets up and the reverend asks, so tell me, Willie, how is your hearing now? And Willie says, I really don't know, Reverend. You see, it's not until Wednesday, but thank you for your prayers. Three women, young women, have just completed their graduate studies. They've been friends for life. They've been in different universities. But they decide to celebrate their achievement. They're going down to Mexico and really have a blast. They're going to dance, they're going to drink, they're going to meet men. They're going to really let loose. And loose they let. They get so stinko drunk that the next morning when they wake up, they don't remember what happened the night before. But they do find lying on the floor in their room a dead man with a knife in him. They don't remember even meeting this guy. They certainly don't remember killing him. But Mexican justice or injustice is very swift. They're arrested, they're quickly judged guilty, and they're sentenced to the electric chair. They strap in the brunette, and she screams out, I'm a graduate of the Brandeis School of Law. And it's illegal, without a trial, that you would execute me. This is wrong, you should release me. They don't care what she says. They pull the switch, but nothing happens. They don't understand, but they strap in the redhead. They're about to pull the switch when she screams out, I'm a graduate of the Jehovah's Witnesses School of Religion. And in the name of God, you have no right to take a human life this way. You must release me. They don't pay attention to her. They pull the switch. Nothing happens. They don't know if the devil is at work, an angel is at work, but they have to release her. Well, you know what they say about blondes. The next one they put in to the chair is from Alabama, a blonde graduate. And she says, I'm a graduate of the Alabama School of Electronic Engineering. And I can tell you one thing. If nothing is going to happen if you don't put that plug in the wall. women. I'm going to be equal, not sexist. 3 men. 3 young men are headed out for a Christmas party. And it begins to snow and sleet and ice, and they skid. They tragically skid into a wall, and all 3 are killed. They come to heaven, and they meet St. Peter at the Golden Gate. And St. Peter says, I'd be glad to admit you instantly on any other night. But tonight is Christmas Eve. And in order to get into the Golden Gates, you have to have a symbol of Christmas on you. Well, the first young man takes out 2 flashlights. He lights them. They light. And he says, these are the lights of Christmas. And St. Peter says, wonderful, you may enter. The second man he turns to, he says, and what is your symbol? He says, well, I have these keys, and he jiggles his keys, and he said, these are the bells of Christmas. And St. Peter says, that's also good, you may enter. And then he turns to the third guy, and he says, and what about you, young man? And he's rather hesitant and bashful. And very slowly he fishes into his pocket and he pulls out a pair of black lacy ladies' underwear pants. And St. Peter says, what has that got to do with Christmas? And shyly the guy says, they're carols. Has worked for a congregation for many years, and they love him very much. And now he got married, and his wife is about to have a child. They want to keep him, they want him to stay with the community, the congregation. And so they vote that he should get a raise. He'll need it with a child coming along. And they also vote that each time his wife has a child, he will get another raise. They figured after all, 2, 3 children. Well, he's obviously quite a religious or a prolific both guy. And within 6 years, they have 5 children. The congregation is going broke. So they call a meeting of the congregation. And they said, you know, preacher, we love you very much. We want you to stay, and we've done our best with these increases, but we can't go on this way anymore. We're going broke. And the preacher becomes somewhat indignant when he hears they want to stop this process. He says, this is wrong. You have to recognize that having a child is a gift from God. And the little old lady in the back of the room stands up and says, yes, children are a gift from God. But so is rain a gift from God. And when you get too much of it, you wear rubbers. A young lady has not been home for quite some while. Her parents, Irish Catholic people, are beside themselves. Well, one day she knocks on the door, and lo and behold, she's there. So he opens the door, and he says, oh, daughter, where have you been all these years? You've worried your mother and me so badly. Where have you been? We thought God knows what has happened to you. Come in, come in. And she says, oh, Dad, I wanted to contact you, but I have a terrible story. And I didn't think you'd like to hear it, and you'd be so aggravated if I told you. Well, what could it be that we wouldn't be wanting you to come home? We love you, daughter. So she comes and she says, well, I've become a prostitute, a high-priced call girl. A prostitute, he's saying. For shame, a Catholic girl like you to become that way. My goodness, he says, what will the neighbors say? Better if you didn't come home, the shame you brought upon us. She says, oh, I know, Dad, I know I brought you such heartache, but I've made a lot of money in what I'm doing. and I wanted to make up a little bit for what I've done to you. So I've opened a bank account for you and Mom for $500,000. I'm sending you on a cruise around the world. I bought you a condo in Florida with a view of the ocean in Intracoastal. And I've gotten you a Movado watch and a Lexus car. And for my little brother, I know he wants to be a doctor. So I'm going to put him through school and college and then medical school. And I will set up an office for him and I'll buy all the equipment. Your lives will be made. Father looks at her and says, now what is it you said you were, daughter? She says, I said I'm a prostitute. Oh, be Jesus, come here and give your old dad a hug. I thought you had said you had become a Protestant. Money talks. I'm an equal opportunity offender. So let me tell you about a Jewish young man. He's 21 years of age, and his parents feel it's time for him to get married. Long overdue. But he just can't marry anybody. He's a religious boy, so they have to set up a lot of criteria. And they come up with a list of all the things that a girl should possess. Well, they really can't find a girl with all of these qualities. So they feel they have to call in Yenta matchmaker. Yenta comes in, she says, oh, this is a list. You need 10 girls for such a list that you made up. But not to worry, not to worry. Yenta never fails. I will find the girl. It may take a little time, but I'll find the girl. 5 days pass, a week passes, 10 days, they're getting nervous. Suddenly, Yenta runs in, oh, mazel tov, congratulations, congratulations, did I find a girl, did I find a girl? 1 in a million, a diamond, everybody says so, everybody says so. First of all, she's tall and blonde and beautiful, and she's got such a shape, she could be a model. Everybody says so. And she is bright. She's going for her doctorate. She's #1 in her class. She's written a book. She teaches on the side. Brilliant. Everybody says so. Everybody. And she's a religious girl. She goes to synagogue. She prays. She knows the Bible. She lights candles. She observes all the holidays. Where do you find a girl like that nowadays? It's almost unbelievable. Everybody says so. It's a miracle. Everybody. And she's also a housekeeper, a homemaker. She sews and she cooks and she bakes and she mends. She even can do some minor plumbing. She does everything. It's unbelievable. One girl to do all of this. Everybody says so. Everybody. And last but not least, she's so kind to her parents and to her aunt and to her grandparents and her brothers and sisters. Such a neshama, such a heart. You don't find anyone who's so caring nowadays. People are selfish. Everybody says so. 1 in a million, no questions. The mother says, well, with such qualifications, what is there to say? Let's make a marriage. Right now, let's do it. All of a sudden, the son, who's been sitting quiet all this time, says, I have a question. The mother says, you have a question? What kind of question can you have when you have a girl like this? Why, you're such a bargain, they're running after you. It's 1 in a million, a diamond, everybody says so. You heard what Yenta says. He says, I have a question. So Yenta says, let him ask the question already. He says, I want to know, is she good in bed? Yenta shrugs her shoulders and says, well, some say yes, some say no. 95-year-old people, married 70 years. They're still making love. And in the middle of the love making, we have 2 70-year-olds here. Hey, good for for you.
Married 70 years.
And in the middle of the lovemaking, he has a heart attack and dies. The wife is bereft with grief. There's no consoling her. They come home from the funeral, and the granddaughter says, I don't understand, Grandma. Grandfather was so strong, so vigorous, so healthy. He was like 20 years younger. He did such things. Young men don't do that. I don't understand what happened. She says, well, you see, we were making love. You are making love and you're 95 years old? No wonder he had a heart attack. No. You don't understand. We had it all worked out. We had a system. You see, we know we're not in our 20s, we're not in our 30s. So we went about it slow and easy, methodical, didn't put any pressure or exertion on him at all. Your grandfather liked the church bells. He liked the way they tolled. And you know how was the church bells? Ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong. That's how we make love, slow and easy. Well, if that's the case, she says, what happened? She says, what happened? That's why I'm so aggravated. Nothing would have happened if it wasn't for that lousy ice cream truck that came along.